to a moment of great significance, the ceremonial exchange of a landmark Memorandum of Understanding between the General Insurance Council of India and the Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research. This strategic partnership under the Common Empanelment Agreement framework marks a transformative step in healthcare accessibility. Through this MOU, a unified empanelment with all general insurance companies across India will be established, allowing insured patients from any network to receive seamless treatment at our hospital, free from financial or administrative barriers. With deep appreciation for this spirit of collaboration, may we now invite Dr. Tapan Singhel, representing the General Insurance Council, and Dr. Vasudev Upadhyay, representing the Sri Madhusudan Sai Institute of Medical Sciences and Research, to kindly come forward for the ceremonial exchange. Thank you, dignitaries. May we now call upon Dr. Tapan Singhel to address the gathering. With over 3 decades of distinguished experience in the insurance industry, Dr. Singhel has played a pivotal role in driving the company's growth and fostering innovation. A respected thought leader and a committed advocate for accessible healthcare and financial protection, he has received numerous accolades for his visionary leadership and continues to contribute meaningfully to the sector's advancement. Dr. Tapan Singhel, please, also called as the Insurance Man of India.
Let me start by expressing my gratitude to Sadhguru, gratitude to each one of you sitting here, who is part of doing so good to society and making a difference to humanity as a whole. I think the purpose of life, as per me, is to make a difference to humanity. And all of you are living examples of that, and that is why gratitude to each one of you here. Let me talk about 2 stories first before I speak about the impact of this common empowerment. You would have heard about the butterfly effect. It came out from the chaos theory, and Mr. Lawrence, a meteorologist, spoke about it. What he said was that even small events which sound insignificant at some point of time have a huge cascading effect. And the example he gave is, if a butterfly is fluttering its wing in Mexico, it can lead to a tornado in US. And I think that was the example that he spoke about. It's called the butterfly effect, which means just the fluttering of wings of a butterfly in some place. It can have a cascading effect which can lead to a tornado. Now, this may still sound abstract. Let me make it into more, for example, which sounds more, which we can correlate to. We all know about the chess game, and we know that it was originated in India. And the person who made this game, he went to the king and he showed it to him. And the king asked, "Oh, this looks so good. What do you want in return?" The person said very simply that, "Your Majesty, I want that in the 64 pieces that you have on the chessboard, put 1 grain of rice in the first piece. In the second piece, put 2 grains of rice. In the third piece, put 4 grains of rice. Just double the grain of rice in every square. And then whatever comes on the 64th one, just give that to me and I'll be very happy with it." The king smiled and he said, "You ask an emperor, and you could have asked for anything. You could have asked for the riches of the world. You could have asked for no land. You could have asked for whatever you wanted. Why do you ask for such a simple thing?" The sage just folded his hand and said, "Sir, Your Majesty, I'll be very happy if I just get this. I want nothing else." So the king ordered his people, "Please give it to him." And they started. And you see the cascading effect. or you got the compounding effect in today's term of what happened. First piece was 1 grain, 2 grain, 4 grain. By the time they reached the 20th piece, it was already 10 lakh grain. And by the time they reached the 40th piece, it was already 100 crore grain. And to reach the 64th piece, they would have to bring grains from all over the world which had ever been cultivated over time. It was next to impossible to reach that. In just 64 pieces, the compounding effect of multiplying a grain reached to such mammoth value that the emperor could not fulfill the desire of the sage of giving what he had asked for. In history, there are moments which have a compounding effect. When we see it in the beginning, we do not realize what power and what effect it's going to have. Common empowerment, as we see today, when you look at it, it looks like an MOU exchange between an amazing institution which has done so much for society and continues to do so, and the General Insurance Council, a body of all general insurer, health insurer, reinsurer in India, which is set up by the Parliament and the Act on that basis. It looks like a very simple thing. Now let me explain to you the impact and the power of it. Now when we look at healthcare, or we look at education, these are fundamental rights for the citizen of our country, and this should be affordable and accessible to everyone. And this should be done in a manner in which you have full transparency and leads to the best of benefits. If I ask you a question, if I take you 10 years back, how much did you spend on healthcare for your family and how much do you spend today? The multiplying effect which has gone and the kind of corruption which has entered the system in terms of what is happening, there has to be a kind of a body which brings in fairness, which brings in transparency, which also brings in any kind of unregulated entity which is not right for the conducive for the country should be put to a check. Now, why is this required? It can still happen that it's not required. Again, the compounding effect. If you look at the medical inflation today, which is 3 times the average inflation of the country, which means on a compounding effect basis, in 20 years' time, the average Indian will not be able to afford healthcare in India. Which means that for an average person, they would actually be devastated when an incident requiring healthcare comes into the family. Even today, if you look at, I think if I refer to a World WHO report 6-7 years back, it mentioned 10 crore Indians go below poverty line because they can't afford healthcare. Today's scenario is a bit better, it's close to 4 crores. It happened because of schemes like Ayushman Bharat, hospitals like the ones that you have created here has brought it down. Fast forward, if the healthcare was unaffordable, huge population of the country would actually go below poverty line because they can't afford healthcare in India. There has to be a semblance, there has to be a check and balances. Profit is good, but exploitation is bad. There has to be a means and mechanism where if you look at data points, if a patient is insured, the percentage of cesarean is about 80%. If the patient is uninsured, the percentage of cesarean is about 15%. Is it not funny? How can, because you're insured, your cesarean goes up compared to time when you're not insured? We can give you 100 examples like this. And that is where, when as an industry body, we decided that we have to do something for the country and put it together. Common empowerment means that every insurance company signs up to the hospital, and any kind of cash which happens, it goes through for all companies together. And there's no hassle from a patient's perspective of trying to figure out which hospital has cashless from which company. And there's no hassle for the hospital because it's completely transparent, straight through, and there's no need to figure out which company is giving what. We're also setting up a redressal mechanism under the council in which if there's a dispute, the hospital can directly go to the redressal mechanism, which will have members from the hospital body, which will have doctors, which will have insurers, which will have neutral parties. So the fairness is maintained, transparency is maintained, and there is a methodology to how do we take it forward. So no side in any forms tries to become exploitive in the whole process. That has to be put together to take it forward. Now when you're thinking of such big causes, when you're thinking of such compounding effect, when you're thinking of such powerful mechanism to protect the future of citizens of the country, where would you start this from? It had to start from an institution which is already doing it for the country, which is living and breathing what they speak about. I had come here a couple of months back, and I was so impressed to see the hospital when I went here. It was amazing. I've been to a lot of hospitals across the country, across the world, but this to me sounded like one of the best that I've seen. I saw the neonatal care for the kids there, and the facility that they had was phenomenal. And I looked at, met the doctors, I went together. And then to my mind I said that when we do common empowerment, we should start from here. And that's a promise I had made. To all the dignitaries here who spoke, and I told this to Sadhguruji when I was leaving. I said, we shall do it from here. That's my commitment. And today when we're starting this, we said we do it from here. We already have close to 4,000 hospitals lined up now to do it. I already have Mr. Shekhar Sampath Kumar and Shashi representing the council and the ones leading it from the fund. I also have the president of Agents Association of India, Mr. Lokesh. Can you stand up, Lokesh? No, I think. So he represents all the agents across the country. He's the president of that. He's also here as his commitment to the cause to ensure that we deliver what we speak about. And institutions like this get recognized. This, to me, is the flapping of the wing of the butterfly for tomorrow's tornado of the India people. Thank you so much for this time and the honor to be here. And thank you from the behalf of all the CEOs of the industry. I have two leading ones from the industry with me right now. I have Mayank, who heads, you heard Aditya Birla, not only that, in the health committee of ours for the council. He is the chair for that. I have Anmesh, one of my young stalwarts. He heads the best direct company in terms of online for insurance space. He is here to be there. So I have a lot of representations from my insurance industry, the general managers and all sitting in front here. So we're all here, committed to the nation, committed to the cause, and gratitude to each one of you for allowing this to happen. Thank you so much.